Ashley.
Robert, hello.
Good, come in.
Thank you.
So I'm Robert Sackville-West. I'm the 14th generation of the Sackville family to live at Knole. Knole, this massive, stately home in Kent with a legendary 365 rooms, 52 staircases, 7 courtyards, a so-called calendar house, although actually, apart from the 7 courtyards, you would be unlikely to find exactly those numbers of rooms and staircases. This is our bit. So you've just come in from, as you cross these courtyards, which lead to the Great Hall, and then off them lead these rooms to our apartments, which are sort of along the south wing of the house. And we moved in about, a long time ago now, 14 years ago we moved into these apartments. These tapestries are early 17th century, late 16th century tapestries. Noah is featured in them, and they were, until we moved in, just hanging from nails in a derelict passage, in a terrible state of disrepair. But we simply put on a backing, and you don't really notice just how threadbare they are. This is the Armory, and many country houses in the 18th century acquired different new rooms, as it were. One of those rooms was sort of decorative armories, and others were libraries. And so all these country houses, they acquired these rooms, and actually just purely for decoration, This is a library, with a sort of typical 18th century gentleman's collection of books, dictionaries, encyclopedias, works of topography, economics, and so on. It's now become a little bit of a repository of photos. There's a whole piles of photos, particularly from the 1880s and 90s, visitors' books. It's our dining room, and it's probably been the family dining room for about 300 years or more, since the family moved out of the grand staterooms, the rooms that you can visit today, into more sort of smaller, more intimate rooms such as this. So this is but it's known as the Poet's Parlor because all the paintings on the walls are portraits of poets, playwrights, and writers, mostly of the late 17th century. There is a novel by Virginia Woolf called Orlando, and Orlando is about Knole, and every single page of Orlando has a direct reference to Knole. And because Orlando, although it was a novel, it's a sort of pretend biography. It's got photographs, as if it was a biography, even though it's obviously a novel. And the photographs chart Orlando's life over the course of 400 years, several changes of sex and changes of career. And the first portrait of Orlando, in Orlando, is this boy here. And the caption says, Orlando as a young man. There are different elements of Knole and English history that are reflected in Knole. This is probably my favourite room in the house. It was originally a sort of open walkway, and later the windows and the glazing was put in. In the early 18th century, the room was completely redecorated, and these wonderful trompe-l'oeil wall paintings were done by a Huguenot craftsman. Before Jane and I moved with our kids here 14 years ago, we really did think quite hard about whether we wanted to live here, because on the one hand you were living in the most beautiful and privileged circumstances, in one of the great treasure houses of Britain. On the other hand, up to a point, it is a public place. 150,000 people come round bits of the house every year. It's open 353 days of the year. It's quite public. I mean, you can hear in most rooms the footsteps of people, touring the house above. They can probably hear you. There are some minor constraints to living here, but on balance, I feel very lucky.